How Basketball Saved My Life is sponsored by the Hall at the Rail House, Norman's premier event space in the heart of downtown. Weddings, receptions, corporate events, luncheons, banquets, proms, parties, and more. If you're looking for a place to celebrate life, we hope you'll choose the Hall at the Rail House, located in downtown Norman. The Hall at the Rail House is a 100-year-old event space with wood floors, exposed bricks, and beautiful wood barrel ceilings. With plentiful parking and many packages to choose from, the Hall is the perfect spot for your next event. For more information, please visit therailhousenorman.com or call 405-778-0003.
This show is brought to you by Chris Express Drugs, located in South OKC. For all your sports medical needs, call 405-735-3950.
This show is also brought to you by ME Labs. They have partnered with the State Department of Health to bring you free COVID-19 tests. So go to www.melabs.com to find a testing location near you. That's a major move. Welcome to another episode of How Basketball Saved My Life. I'm your host, the Easy Button.
And your boy, Twan Don.
And we have a very special guest in here for y'all today. My man, Coach Brandon Rollins.
Nice to meet you.
Man, how you doing today, my man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited. We're going to have some basketball.
Yes, sir.
You know, didn't think we were, so I'm
I didn't think we were. So we just had Epe on the show a couple days ago, and I'm talking big cash, like series over tonight, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, man, nobody except for LeBron played well.
Right.
You know, it wasn't really like that, but it felt like that anyways, dog. So what was your reactions when you was watching that game?
Man, I mean, the elephant in the room is the last play.
Yeah. Get into it, Coach.
I prefer him not to call for the screen because that's Braun, but he made the right play.
Do you think he called for that? I feel like it was out of a timeout. I feel like that was the coach's play.
Well, I'll say this. I know that LeBron has enough cachet to say we're not doing this.
Facts.
I say that. You know, so at the end of the day, you can't knock him for coming off the screen and making the right play. He did what he should have. He didn't even
go off the screen.
He didn't. He
just drove hard.
He didn't really use it. You know, the funny thing about it is the play before Jimmy Butler gets the screen, he goes straight to the rim, bucket. Braun rejects the screen kind of same way. More help. It is more help.
Oh, it's gonna come.
This is more help.
But this is how it happened though, in my opinion, because it was like a misdirection screen for Jimmy Butler.
Right.
Looked like he was gonna set it on the strong side, and the man looped around and set it on the weak side.
Right.
So then whoever was guarding whoever set the screen for Jimmy couldn't really go over there and help or hedge or double or whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking like, okay, are they trying to do the same thing for LeBron?
Right.
Except my man didn't get there, or LeBron didn't wait for him to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think LeBron already had it made up in his head. He was going.
I agree.
Hard right.
He was going hard right.
I agree.
The elephant in the room. So it's like, what would you prefer him do in that situation?
I think Braun is the greatest driver of the basketball ever. I know he's going to get a foul call if he goes up all night. I mean, Jay Crowder, butt on the ground, and one, you know. But again, in that moment, once you make it to that point, you make the right play. He made the right play. I mean, I'll stick with that. But I think there's some things that could have happened prior to that where Braun has it.
Granted, knowing how much they give him all these baby fouls.
Right.
I say take it up on all four.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
I agree.
They giving you when you get to the rim, so that I just see
y'all
them
saying take it up on all four?
Only because I see them giving him the foul. I see them giving him the foul. He made the right move. Yes, he made the right play. Danny Green was on an island. By himself.
Sometimes that's not always the best thing.
Obviously. I agree. But I'm just saying, like, I'm probably going to shoot it, knowing that I'm probably going to get this foul call.
Yeah.
The only thing I feel like LeBron could have done better, and that's probably to Kobe lovers' arguments, is pull up on the mid-range.
Right.
That's the only thing he could have done different.
Right.
Everything else from that point, when he decided not to shoot the mid-range, was right.
Right.
Living.
And I'll say this, Braun with 4 people on him, however you want to view it, at the rim, including the foul call, That's still probably a 60%.
That's
you're looking at Danny Green. That's 40-something.
That's less than 40 at this point.
Yeah. I like your math, though.
Danny Green ain't done it all year yet.
Yeah.
All playoffs at least, bubble.
I'm salty because I'm calling for Kuzma to get out the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, well, what about Danny Green? I'm like, it's winning time. It's winning time. Danny Green gonna be fine.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, he poops on himself.
Yeah.
So
It was bad. It was.
Oh, man. Well, before we move on, who you got winning tonight?
I'm going to go Bryant, man. I'm going to go Lakers.
He didn't say Lakers first. He said
It's
Bryant.
Bryant. His legacy, I don't want to say it's on the line, but as a Kobe guy and someone who's going to be objective, he has an opportunity to kind of put his name there. And I just don't see him failing at that. I don't.
I want Django and Iguodala to lock it down.
Django. Hey, man, listen. Jamie Foxx, that dude.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx can't hoop, so
Yeah,
Lakers in 6.
He look like Django right now.
Lakers in 6, man. So, all right, boom. Man, so you were a 4-year assistant at MacU. You won an NAIA title with MacU. You were an assistant at Northwest Classen. You played 4 years at SCU, and now you are the head coach at Southwestern Christian University. That is dope. Like, how does it feel to play for somebody and then turn around and coach for them?
Granted, on top of that, you are young.
Right.
How old are you, first of all, for
30,
those that don't know?
Just turned 30 last week.
I was looking at it, and me and him like, bro, we older than him, and he a head coach.
We all think.
Like, we were geek for you, dog. Like, super geek, because I'm 30, 07, 30,
08,
08,
09.
30, 09. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that happened.
Somebody wasn't good at grade.
I don't know how that happened. Nah, I was early. I got skipped up a grade, but, I shouldn't have. Reclassifying is a new thing. That's what I would do if I could go back. If I can go back, I'm graduating 2010.
Yeah.
So what was it like playing? What's it like playing at a school and then years later, now you're the head coach?
Kind of in the moment, that's not something you're thinking about. My
First year, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't even get to coach a game yet?
No. Well, no. Last year was my first year there.
Last year.
We go a game below 500. We are kind of loading the bus to go to our, at our level, basically the NIT tournament. And, that's the end of it. I get a phone call. We're done for the year, which for me meant a lot for that group for my first time to kind of continue the season. But everybody went through that. But for me, man, as far as kind of coaching where I played, that's not something you think about at 18. My whole life was probably from 15 on. I just wanted to help people.
Yeah.
It wasn't always coaching. My dad was a therapist and as well as a pastor. So just kind of constantly being involved with somebody helping people. That's what I wanted to do, and wanted to be a therapist and somebody who wrote books and scripts and things like that. And you look up and
I remember we talked about it actually because you were going to get your LPC,
right?
And I was going to get my LPC.
Right.
Didn't do it, by the way. I hope you did. I hope you did. I got the master's.
Right.
I didn't go past that test, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah. That was the original plan, man. And I was a behavioral health rehabilitation specialist in 14. And I had some people I worked with at various high schools, and Northwest Classen ended up being one. I was talking to some of the kids I worked with, and they're like, man, we just got a new coach. And I look online, and Coach Jack, Jason Jack, I kind of go there, and it's like, man, I kind of go with you guys and go to a practice, check out a practice, and kind of in the middle of that practice, we start hooping.
Yeah.
So I keep shoes in the trunk.
Gotta keep them.
Yeah. So
I got 3 pairs.
I go to the trunk, kind of lace up, and we start hooping. And me and Coach Jack build a rapport, and next thing you know, I'm coaching. And it kind of led to this.
Wow.
For sure. Yeah.
How long did you coach with Northwest Classen?
1 year.
1 year.
1 year. I was at Northwest Classen for 1 year. Quinn Wooldridge was the head coach at Southwestern Christian at that time. Josh Gamblin was the assistant. He leaves. I was a video coordinator for the Clippers. I kind of slide into that position. Yeah, it was helpful, obviously for him as well, but even for me, you know, that's a brother of mine, and we kind of talk daily, kind of while he was out there, and you know, that's kind of when I started building, you know, the coaching aspect. You know, there were several things earlier in my life. You know, my brother was a basketball coach for 20 plus years in Louisiana at a high school, so I kind of always knew it was something I can do.
Right.
But it wasn't.
You got a front row seat to it.
Right. But it wasn't something that I thought I would be doing, honestly. But you know, you kind of fast forward. We have some success. I was really good at dealing with the players, and you know, kind of using my hunger for helping people. Obviously knowing the game and
relationship building.
Yeah, and it just kind of all fell into place.
Dog, like, so you went from 1 year at a high school, and then the very next year you're at the school that you're coaching at now, but as an assistant.
Right.
And how long did you do that for?
I did that for a year, and then after that year, Coach Josh Gamlin, he becomes the head coach at Mid-America, and from that point,
the same SCU coach.
Same SCU. He was the assistant, leaves there. Video coordinator for the Clippers, comes back to OU. He was a GA at OU while I was assistant at SCU. And then the following year, you know, he's the head coach at Mid-America.
And brings you along for the ride.
Brings me along for the ride, and we win a national championship that year.
First year?
First year.
Oh.
Fairy tale.
Yeah, you know, first year, and it kind of obviously set us all up for where we're at today.
Go ahead. Looks like you percolating on something.
Oh, no, I'm just listening in. You trying to hear.
My thing is, at that point, y'all win that championship. Are you like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is it. This feeling's different. It's amazing. And you're experiencing this success so fast. Is it like, okay, this is it right here. This is my career.
Yeah, you know, it still kind of started with the people. You know, the NAIA deals with a lot of transfers. For numerous reasons. So, you know, not that, you know, most of the guys aren't in trouble, but they're just kind of didn't work out here, didn't work out there. Obviously, when you transfer, there's going to be possibly a lack of confidence, or, you know, kind of something you got to deal with. And
I didn't think about that.
And just kind of seeing guys grow, win or loss doesn't matter, you know, but to kind of see the lack of confidence turn into confidence, I knew before we even made the national tournament, like
that y'all had a chance.
Yeah, and for career-wise, like, this is where I'm at right now. I can help these guys kind of shift their perspective of themselves, you know, through hoops. You know, I tell my guys all the time, that ball to me isn't a ball. It's every sacrifice. It's every friendship. It's
yes, sir.
You know, it's not just a ball.
Preach,
you know?
Pastor.
You know, it's not a ball. So to kind of use that ball as a vehicle to reach them is always number one for me. Not really wins or losses.
So do you think because you are a player coach, it brings you more connected to the players?
Yeah.
Trying to get them, you know, comfortable with playing, since you already had to walk through the motions yourself, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I will say that there's an adjustment between assistant and head that kind of goes along with that, just as far as the relationship goes, that I'm always trying to work through. But 100%, yeah, being able to connect with those guys to maximize who they are as people always kind of translates on the court.
So you was a player first, so what got you started?
Man, you know, I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but, you know, obviously my family, we're all kind of bigger in stature. Thank God I followed that suit. I loved football. You know, going into 7th grade, cracked my sternum.
God.
Yeah.
For those that don't have a medical background, where is the sternum?
It's right here.
Right down the center.
It's not something you get a cast for. You just kind of gotta let it heal.
Did you get hit?
Got hit.
That's a tough one to bust right there.
Got hit. And I'm not gonna lie, when it's cold outside, I'm not one to want to be out there. I'm not gonna blame it all on that. I'm not gonna blame it all on that.
So you could take a hit.
I could take a hit.
You couldn't take the cold smacking you. That's
when
different.
It's cold. I couldn't do it. My dad would say I was a little too soft for football, but that's okay. I went into basketball and I started taking it serious. I've always played, multiple sports. But going into high school, I took basketball serious.
What was the switch?
Really my mom kind of saying, I don't know about football and kind of being someone who I just didn't like getting hit. I'll be honest. And I was never bad at basketball because I knew how to play hard. I 100% knew how to play hard. Kind of understood what was going on. So I've always found myself, even through various positions I had, whether that be go get us a bucket, go get us a stop, go get us a rebound. I was fortunate enough to play on so many different teams, to have so many different roles, that I think kind of started molding me for coaching, during that moment, without really, intellectualizing that or thinking about that. That kind of molded me to coach.
So once she took away an option, and then you had all this free time, it was either waste it or apply it.
Right.
And you chose to apply it.
Right.
That's dope. Moms did you a favor. You don't even know it.
She did.
Moms always know best, boy. I'm telling you.
Yeah, she did, 100%.
So you said something earlier that I'm glad I didn't forget about, because I was like, please don't forget. Please don't forget. You said there's a difference between the way you relate to players as an assistant and as a head coach.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. As an assistant,
more freedom.
Yeah, just to kind of put it in kind of family terms, we all got family. I mean, as an assistant, I was, you could be a cool uncle. Obviously you have that respect there, first and foremost.
Cool uncle.
but it's also that kind of like, hey man, you better chill out before coach, whoever the head coach is.
Pops come in.
And as a head man, that standard can never change. Regardless of how you feel about a player or the relationship that you've built, that relationship can't change. Because you are the head, you are who everyone looks at.
That's crazy you say that, because I did a coaching stint 1 year, 7th grade, and I started as the assistant coach. And like you said, I could be the buddy. I was cool. I can go ahead and cut
positive,
a little joke.
right.
Yeah, positive. Like, it's okay. And then like mid-season, I got switched to head coach, and it was like, now I have to implement my way of doing things, and had to turn that switch on. So that's crazy that you say that, because I didn't realize it that I went through it. But like once you just said that, I felt that right there.
Hey, he went from.
I felt that.
He went from. It's all right, buddy.
Hey, you right.
Hey, Todd, you went through a real life mid-season crisis where you had to just grow from an uncle to a dad so fast, man. Yeah. Dog, like, I think that is so dope though, because, like you said, like you may feel a certain way about a player, but in that, I'm gonna say daddy role, because you know what I'm saying, that's like the top of the top.
Right.
In that role, it's just, you just can't come down on certain things.
Right.
So after season, before season, can you relax a little bit, or is it just that hat is just always on?
Yeah, the kind of with COVID, we leave during spring break, and I'm anticipating everybody to come back. I don't see them again. So I haven't had I haven't had a real
postseason.
Off season. But preseason, I mean, during that time, I always want to be me, and I think it's important for them to see, me as well. So that's usually me hooping with them, getting out there, talking a little noise.
You gotta invite us.
Yeah, I will.
You gotta invite us. We need some runs.
I'm the only one in the gym calling a foul, and I'm not debating it.
You had honcho. Yeah, right. We gone. We gone.
That's a foul. If I'm tired, we're gonna check up for 40, 50 seconds. kind of that role, and as well as obviously the lifting and the yoga and the extra things that kind of come along with that. Yeah, those are things we didn't get to do, kind of the spring going into the summer last year, that we was able to have this preseason because we didn't know what we would even have. So to kind of have that at the beginning of the year after not seeing everybody for a while, I thought was really good.
Do you have pretty much the same team come back?
Yeah, you know, we were able to bring back 6 guys. You know, we lost 2 starters. So I was, you know, I kind of knew coming into this year, regardless, at least we would have a foundation to kind of continue to build.
Right.
So I was definitely excited.
Were they seniors? Did you
they're
transfers?
Seniors. You know, we got 7 seniors.
Ooh.
You know, and that's something that I'm excited about. Obviously, those are 7 guys that they all want to be on the court. They all want to, you know. So there's positives and negatives to everything. But I'm excited about this group. They've worked hard. They've worked together. You know, they bought in. So I'm excited to kind of get it started. Copy.
So, how was it climbing through the coaching ranks so fast, or do you consider it to be fast?
It was definitely fast.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I would say, and this is kind of what I've been trying to teach every guy that I've been with, man. You know, don't make basketball your identity. Make the things that made you who you are with basketball your identity, right? So, waking up early when nobody else is waking up early and working out. Being vulnerable enough to ask other people for help or workouts and things like that. About 18, 19 years old, I made those things my identity. You know, I didn't make just I'm a hooper my identity. It was, no, I'm somebody who wakes up early for something he loves.
That's a gem.
I'm somebody who asks people for help for something that he loves. You know, so as that kind of happened, I wasn't worried about the result. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to be a head coach by 30, or I'm going to be this by 30, or I'm going to be that. It just kind of happened. You know, those principles that I built, along with obviously the people that I've been around, and my family upbringing, all that kind of fell into place.
Man, I'm gonna have to ask you to run that back, because what you just said was so key. I mean, I remember when I had to put basketball down, it was my identity. Right. So I struggled. You know what I'm saying? I struggled because I didn't look at it the way you just mentioned it. So can you run that back for me one more time for those, you know, who basketball is maybe their identity, or, you know, they're struggling in coming out of that identity crisis?
Right. I mean, if you love anything you love, and I said, like, if you love it, you will do anything for it. And that is a vehicle for you to learn the skills, right? Those skills can apply to anything, you know. I mean, I'm a big Kobe guy. You know, kind of his last chapters of life, he was in film and he was in podcasts, and in the interviews he talked about, he said, hey, I just applied the same vigor, the same thing that I learned through hoops, you know. And that's kind of the thing. He as great as he was, if basketball was his identity, he just would have stopped, or he would have never retired. You know, he retires, he takes everything that he learned and applies it to different avenues in life, and, you know, that turns into an Oscar or Emmy, whatever he wants, you know.
I heard that was a difference between him and Jordan.
Right.
Was that Jordan, basketball obviously was his identity.
Right.
So he leaves playing,
right,
and, you know, he was never satisfied, obviously. So, you know, you hear how much of a, you know, a-hole that he was and things like that. You know, I couldn't think of a better way to put it.
No, you're right. Right.
You hear, you know, just how he was, and then he goes into management or coaching and,
right,
you know, team owning, and it's just that, you know, that kind of always just follows him.
Right.
Whereas, you know, Kobe, you know, to allude to what you're saying, he, you know, he put it down and he was ready to move on and put it into his kids and put it into
right,
this part and that part. And,
right,
you know, it's just, man, that's real interesting.
Right. And that's always been, man, even as a teenager, that's been the thing with Kobe for me, is hearing him speak and kind of talking about how it's not basketball. You know, it's the tools and the skill sets that he learned pursuing something he loved, giving everything to something he loved, you know, and just applying that. So that's something that I try to live by. You know, I thank God for basketball, and, you know, kind of the things that it taught me, and even the thoughts that I had to say, hey, you know, I'm not a hooper, you know, it's what I do, but because this is what I do and what I love, I'm gonna wake up early, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z for it.
AKA, don't call yourself a hooper.
Don't call yourself a hooper.
Don't say I am a basketball player.
Right.
No, I feel that. Like, and that, I mean, I said it the other day in my head when I should have said I'm a coach, you know, because I'm coaching now with Kellen.
Right.
You know, I coach a little team of my own, and I was referring to myself in my head. I don't know, don't question it. And I said something about I'm a basketball player. I'm like, and I asked myself, like, why didn't I say to myself that I was a coach?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, you play, yeah, you have fun with it, but it's over. Like,
when it's done, it's done.
it's over. But in my mind, it's like I'm still trying to transition out of that, which, you know, carried me all the way up to this point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's real important that people that are listening, you know what I'm saying, just don't call yourself a basketball player.
Right. And
I hoop.
Yeah, and the last thing I say, man, on that is most people probably start playing at 10, I say, you know, at the latest. Most people 5, 6, 7. Some people high school, but even if you look at it, you're 14, 15 years old and you look up, you're 25. I mean, 10 years of your life of something, you can't just have a game out of it, right? Like you can't invest so much of your emotions and thoughts and into anything and not come out with skills out of that.
For life
skills, right?
I dig it. Okay, so well, how much of that was your parents then to just, dude, you're not a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you're this first. You know, you're that first. Like, how much of that was your parents?
I mean, probably 100% of it. Honestly. You know, I'm also, you know, the youngest of 4 boys. You know, like I said, my brother that coached in Louisiana, he coached for 20 years and he retired 5 or 6 years ago, and I was 25 when he retired. So I kind of was able to see that throughout the whole time.
Oh man, y'all got a big age gap, huh?
Yeah, massive age. In age I'm closest to, he's 10. He's 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I've always been able to see people kind of go through different phases of life, and seeing that the season that you're in currently will kind of lead to the next if you take from it what you're supposed to. So I was definitely blessed at being able to kind of see those things.
Wow, that's cheating for real. I mean, not just 3 older siblings, 3 older brothers.
Brothers, yeah.
Dog, what the other 2 brothers do?
So the brother who's 10 years older than me, he worked at OU for 8 years. He also was a personal trainer, so he had his own gym here in Norman.
That's why you swole. Okay.
Yeah.
You got every kind of background.
He leaves and he's in Houston now doing financials. My other brother lives in Dallas right now, and he's doing a bunch of things as far as the entertainment world. You know, my parents are both retired now.
Fire.
You know, my brother who's a coach, he's a principal now. You know,
he living the good life.
Yeah, you know. So again, I get to see all 3 of my brothers along with my dad go through different phases. You know, so I know that everything is temporary. Even if I do this for 40 years, you know, in 41 years, I better have something from this to kind of help me with the other.
Sheesh.
Sounds like you had a real great foundation though to keep you on board to figure out what you help. Well, whatever comes next, be ready for it.
And I was always taught to be vulnerable enough to ask people for help. You know, be vulnerable enough to kind of talk to people who know more than me. I don't really like to be in a lot of situations where I feel as though I know more than anybody.
Right.
You know, so just being vulnerable enough to put myself in different situations, I think it's kind of giving me accelerated speed in my career.
Man, that's some real forward thinking though. You just said that even if it's 40 years from now, you better take something to help you until when you're 80. You know?
Right, I got it.
70.
Yeah.
That's some real forward thinking, man. So, man, I'm glad we got to take all, you know, that little detour. That was some real good stuff, man. So, let's see. When you get to high school, right, you're taking it serious now.
When did you realize I might have a chance at playing college basketball? Was it early? Was it late?
Man, it was something that I knew I was going to do.
No matter what?
No matter what. No matter where. I wanted to be a therapist, so that was number one. I knew, at that time, I knew every college in the state who had psychology. So I emailed those coaches. I asked my high school coaches at the time about those universities. I was realistic with myself of where I could go. Watch the teams that I thought would fit me.
Did some homework.
Yeah,
Gems.
I did some homework, but again, it started with the psychology aspect of it, and SCU just ended up being a fit. It was the first place I went to on a list of several that was welcoming enough to have me, and when I get there, I meet my teammates who are now still my brothers to this day.
Facts.
I knew the major was there, and I knew, hey, I'm gonna be here 4 years. I'm gonna be a therapist in 7 years, and everything will be all right. And, it kind of turns out to me being back there now. So I just always knew what I wanted to do and was kind of loyal to that vision and allowed it to just play out.
So one of my questions that I was going to ask, and you kind of answered it, was why did you choose NAIA? And obviously you felt like that's where your skill set fit better. Can you elaborate on that as a coach, for players who, maybe have aspirations to play above themselves, or above their capabilities?
Right. Well, I'd say the first thing is ability. When I'm 8, 9 years old, I wasn't in my backyard, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, made the buzzer shot for SCU.
Right.
I was, especially around that time, man, it's something that really imprinted me that I understood I could coach, especially being black. OU goes back to back, Sampson and Capel. So for me, especially my family kind of just moving to Oklahoma, it's like, I'm going to OU, which I think is probably even more unique than most basketball stories. But around 17, I'm like, all right, they ain't called yet. Right. So I need to know what I want to do with my life. And that's kind of where it landed. I knew I wanted to hoop. I knew I wanted to do that, and SCU was just a perfect fit. So the perfect fit, whether that was D2, whether that was whatever the case may be, I was going to go, I was playing the long game, not just those 4 years.
Playing a long game. Again, that's some real good guidance, some real good forward thinking. But you end up at the NAIA level. When you get there, who did you play against that you were just like, okay, there's some dogs at this level? Because people don't know. They think it's D1, D2, that's it. Ain't nothing else after that.
Right. We played a guy at Oklahoma Western. His name is Sadell Rojas. And I just remember thinking, like, man, this level isn't, I don't see these guys on TV, et cetera,
right.
et cetera. It probably was like our third conference game. He's 40 and 18 rebounds, and I'm kind of like, yo.
Like 40 and 18?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, yo, this level, people can hoop everywhere, everywhere. And that was kind of one of the few times where I look at, like, man, just being able to play in college is so different. And then going back home over breaks and still playing with guys who didn't play in college, you see it different. No matter where you go, you'll see a massive difference for sure.
Because you know them guys, you like, dang, he must have played somewhere. No, he didn't play nowhere.
Right.
That dude was good.
Right.
Them cats end up at NAIAs.
Right.
Junior colleges.
Right.
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 I'm them cats. You know what I'm saying? I went JUCO. Grades kept me from going D1. I was actually at an NAIA, Northwestern Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Before they became a D2.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was there, and then I think the year I was there, that was their first year D2.
Yeah.
But You know what I'm saying? Like
same league we're in right now, Student Athletic. Yeah.
Same league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Same league. You know, so they out there. You know, if you think about, like, I was a dude getting letters from Creighton, you know, Weber, where, you know, Kellen went. You know, and he has probably 100 letters from people. So, you know, we ended up junior college and so we're like, dude, there's ball players everywhere. But we didn't know this until we became in those situations. We became adults. So you have a lot of kids thinking it's this or bust.
Right.
And then some of them, because they waiting for this, they get nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that hurts my heart, because I know players right now that are like, if I don't get this, and they end up not getting education.
Right.
You know, they end up at home, and there's nothing wrong with work and fast food or none of that, but then they end up, you know, short selling themselves. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So,
but that's one thing about junior college, like to say, it's another chance to resell yourself.
Right.
Like, because I played in Sacramento, that's where I'm from. I played junior college, but there was a lot of people from my junior college year that I seen go off and play D1 ball.
Right.
Like my center, Casey Arendt, played at OU.
Yeah.
And then so it's like you see it a lot. It's just your chance to go ahead and re-put yourself back on the map. So I mean, don't take it for granted that you feel like you should be somewhere else. Prove it.
Right.
Make yourself available so they can take you somewhere else.
Right.
So.
And the best thing, you know, with the high school kids nowadays is that there's a lot they can tap into.
Too much.
There is.
So unfair.
And you know, I'm not gonna name a name because I don't want to forget anybody, but there's at least 15 to 20 trainers in Oklahoma that I look at daily via social media that tap into those guys. You know, there's 30 high school players right now that you should be talking to and, hey man, Lebron does it, you know, KD, they're not working out in the summer. You don't see them just playing pickup to play pickup with each other, they're learning.
Right.
You know, so that's the biggest blessing I feel like the kids have nowadays, is just access to tap in. There's several AAU teams, you know. Obviously, Team Griffin is one that I will always champion. But there's several teams you can play for to get different roles.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, you can.
And that matters.
Yeah, you can be a star on the team. You could be a catch and shoot guy on the team. You could be a defender on the team, and
a 6-man on the other.
Yeah, the blessing.
Because you might not always start.
Yeah, you might not. And the fact that there's so many teams playing every weekend, tap into that.
Got to.
You get to college, your freshman year, you may be the 6-man. You may be the star right away. But your junior year, there may be a freshman come in, you know, and you want to be able to adjust.
Exactly.
You want to be able to have gone through that process. You know, that's a big thing for me. Anytime I talk to a high school student, it's tap in, man. It's everywhere right now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. For aspiring basketball players, what do you look for when you do go recruit kids?
Yeah, well, the first thing I look for is confidence. It's not always miss or make shot with me. It's not always be in the right spot with me. Fortunately, I truly believe the high school coaches in the Metro are phenomenal. I really believe that. As far as running it like a program and the kids being able to kind of come out of that and being prepared. But I would say confidence. You know, there is, you know, kind of when you talk about NAIA, a big part of that is not as many restrictions. Mm-hmm. You know, we practice every day at 4:30. I know Mid-America practices at 1:30. Langston is practicing. USAO is practicing. You know, go and watch some of these college guys and coaches and teams that you're able to, you know, and hear different terminology. See guys who may have went D1 and now are
transferred down.
Yeah, transferred because of whatever reason. You know, learn. You know, and that's the best part about social media, is that it's smaller. Mm-hmm. You know, so anyone who kind of goes through 4 years of high school and say they want to be a college athlete and never tapped into the social media aspects that allow you to be exposed and to learn, you know, you didn't try hard enough.
You're doing yourself
yeah,
service.
You know, you didn't
Especially
try.
this days.
Yeah, you didn't try hard enough.
So you said you look for confidence. Is there ever a player you're like, this dude has too much confidence? Is that a thing?
For me, I say no.
I was saying, I guess it just depends how it plays out.
Yeah, I would say. I would say no. I mean, there's some guys who are going to shoot in high school. You get to college,
and that's not your role.
Might not be your role, you know. But as long as you are humble enough to keep that same confidence and to apply it to whatever role, and you're going to star in that role, there really is no way of you not being on the court, you know. And on top of that, you know, true confidence is earned. You know, it's not just stepping out there and throwing up whatever you want to throw up after a three. It's you're shooting now before the lights is on. And when that's earned, you can see it. You know, you can see when a kid misses 2 shots in a row on his third shot, if he shot 500 shots over the weekend or not. It's apparent, you know. So that's the biggest thing is the work. You know, the work builds that confidence.
That's fire. That's fire. You earn that. You earn that confidence. That's true, man. So somebody that you're recruiting, okay, what can they expect from you?
Honesty.
You're recruiting me right now. I'm back. I'm a 17-year-old, and I'm like, Coach, you know what I'm saying? I want to play for you. What can I expect from you?
Honesty. You know, hey, man, you are not good enough right now. Here's some things I feel like you can work on. Here's some avenues for you to kind of get to that point.
Dang, I'm not good enough, Coach.
Yeah, not yet. not yet. Or if you are good enough, you know, especially being 17 and the NAIA being predominantly a 22
older players
and up, you know, kind of league.
So then you're not big enough. You're good enough.
Right. It's usually that. And a lot of guys don't like to weather that storm. They don't. They, you know, oh, I'm not strong enough. I'm frustrated. Coach this, coach that. And you kind of lose your confidence before it's actually your time. You know, so just being confident in the work, again, don't let basketball be your identity. Let the work be your identity. You know, and you will get out of it what you deserve.
So what about a kid who, obviously, you know, injuries is the reason they got brought down maybe to in that IA kind of situation. How do you help them build their confidence back? Because that was one thing with me. Confidence I never lacked until after I got injured.
Right.
And then after I got injured, it wasn't the same swagger that I had before, obviously, that kept me at the level of play that I was at. So what's one way that you would help, you know, a kid kind of bring that confidence back to themselves?
And does that therapist at heart come to play?
100%.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about it.
It's funny, you know, I talk about my whole life, at least for the last 10, 12 years. I'm gonna be a therapist, and I am a therapist. You know,
even though,
yeah, you know. So being able to help guys reach that, I that is my specialty. You know, it's like you haven't changed as a person, and putting them in positions specifically for injuries. It's putting them in positions in practice, recording it, showing them that. You know, saying, hey, you've done it here. You know, you've done it in the past. Do you feel 100% healthy? Sometimes that may be, you know, because a lot of it is mental. Sometimes that may be extra time in the training room, even though I may feel like
you're ready.
Yeah, you're ready, but that's not up to me.
It's not your mental.
You know, it's not up to me. It's up to you. So until you believe it, I have to do my best to put you in positions for you to believe it. You know, and the biggest thing I tell everybody, I don't have you in this locker room, in this film session, on this court, in this gym if I didn't think that you can't do it. I would tell you something that you can't do if I feel like you can't do it. You know, so that's also a big thing for me.
Man, that's honestly one of the reasons why, you know what I'm saying, like I feel like I'm a decent coach, or that I can become a decent coach, is because I have that same degree that you have, you know, psychology, counseling, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, I've had the injuries and had to bring myself mentally out of it, you know, and so you can kind of relate to certain players, even if you don't have that degree. Obviously, Twan, you know, you had an Achilles tear. So you'd be able to talk to a athlete and tell them what you had to endure and what to expect, and you know, you add the study behind it,
right? And
now you can build a plan. You know, now you can build a plan, put the basketball knowledge behind it, And, you know, now you're in a situation where that player can become himself again. So that's phenomenal, man. Now I'm going to have to go see, I'm going to go look that player up and be like, he used to be hurt. Let me see what he does this year.
Right.
I'm just going to look strictly for them players, man. I swear.
I like that learning aspect that he said, because, you know, I work with kids now. I work with like DHS or OJ kids, the trouble kids. So it's like, even though I don't have my degree of psychology and stuff like that, I've been doing that for 6 years. So that's like a course. That's like a course in itself. So it's like, you know, 100%. De-escalating or therapeutic stuff with them.
100%.
Take that into the world. So I like that, because like, I ain't gonna lie, doing what I do now, it helped me build a lot of patience to sit down and actually take the time to kind of talk to a person and actually get in with them. So.
Why are you the way you are? Right. I'm more patient now.
And that's a big part of it. I mean, if there was sports psychology 10 years ago, that probably would have
that'd have been
100% been my thing.
Definitely.
You know,
that'd have been
because there's a lot of, you know, and I joke with a lot of my guys, I can't wait till the bubble is over to look at stats.
Pre-bubble?
Yep.
Post-bubble.
I can't wait.
Rondo first.
Right, because it's like, you hitting threes now?
Hold on now.
So it's something going on.
To Rondo's defense, he was hitting them before the bubble. Not 50%.
Right.
But he was hitting them before the bubble.
Right. Now
you got to guard him.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a guy with his IQ like that almost unguardable.
Man.
You know, I mean, just being able to make that shot.
Golly.
You know, enough to where a coach is like, we got to get out there. Now his passage is just
open.
Open. I mean, he was one of the first guys, you know, especially, you know, their battles with the Lakers where he's holding at the top of the key and everybody's just not looking at him at all.
Right.
He's just
free throw line.
Yeah.
But I never liked it that way either, because a passer as good as him, he has too much court vision.
Right. I say it all the time. I tell my guys, like, you got to blitz the quarterback.
Yeah.
You let him kind of sit there and let guys run around, run routes, use each other. He's going to find somebody.
You know?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I get it not being all the way up on him because he's super fast off the dribble. Mm-hmm. But you can't just, like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, they used to be 10 feet off this dude while he's palming the ball like this.
Yeah.
But you see how much time is still taking off. I mean,
it takes a lot of time.
Because, he's the quarterback, but the best pass in the game is hitting the bucket. Yes, making the pass is great, but if you sitting back, doubling that lane,
Right.
another person on Braun, so you can't throw it to Braun, or another person in that lane of AD, he really still got to throw it to someone else to make him beat him. Right. Now, if he got that jump shot, he's a real quarterback. He's a real quarterback now. Now he really can decipher everything. So.
True. So we're going to have to look at that. Stats, pre-bubble, post-bubble, I want to see that. Because my man Duncan Robinson was like, I'm equipped to play in empty gyms. I was just like, yo, he ain't wrong.
At all.
Like, yo, we're going to have to look at that, Brandon. All right, boom. So what did what did basketball do for you, man, that, you otherwise wouldn't have been able to do? In other words, how did basketball save your life?
It gave me my first real vision. And what I mean by that is I was able to set a goal just to play collegiately, wherever it was at, and I knew that there was several things that I had to do to reach that goal. And kind of going through that process, I fell in love with that process, and then I was mature enough to realize, okay, this process can be applied to my life, not just basketball, and being able to apply that to everything in life, man. I know there's gonna come a time as a husband, as a father, son, brother, sibling, that I've applied those things, especially obviously in my career, that hard work and that unknowingness, the not being able to control what your work does, I think is the best part of what I learned from basketball.
Consistency, vision, direction. I think that's the best thing basketball did for me, was give me a direction, because I had none prior to. I was telling Epe or whoever the other day, I had a 1.9 in high school before I picked up a basketball and was like, okay, I'm gonna take it serious.
Right.
1.9 GPA, bro. Like, and then basketball was in my life, and then all of a sudden, 2.3,
Right.
3.0.
Right.
Then, 3.0 was my max. Like, but freshman year, 1.9, 2.3, 3.0, and then another 3.0. Like, before that, if they would have said a 4.0 was what you needed to play basketball, I might have went after that 4.0. Like, and I would have probably done what I had to do to get it. Which is why, I love Coach Carter so much, because he set that standard and he didn't budge on it.
Right.
Because you set that standard, and if they want it that bad, they gonna go meet it.
Right.
They gonna go meet it.
100%.
So, what message, man, do you have for aspiring players and coaches out there?
Kind of the both the same. Kind of like I said earlier, tap in. I was somebody who I still kind of look at it from time to time right now. I had a previous email where I just pretty much emailed every coach in the state, every coach where I thought I would move to, just for a GA. And I got a lot of replies, didn't get some replies, but I keep those. There was actually one point where I kind of printed them off and looked at them and was like, there's going to be a day where, I have reached these goals. But just the vision aspect of it, man, and being vulnerable, I think is a massive part of that for coaches as well as players. For coaches, same thing applies for coaches. There's a time now where everybody's email is available, everybody's social media is available. Reach
Everybody's accessible now.
Everybody's accessible.
Everybody. I mean, when I was still trying to go overseas, I had gotten my taste of it. And then all of a sudden, the well ran dry, right? I remember getting one of my friends' Eurobasket account.
Yeah.
And, all them coaches on there.
Yeah.
Dude, one night, I might have stayed up till like 4 a.m. I sent a message to every team that I could.
Yeah.
From Facebook. They had their Facebook on there. I Facebooked them.
Yeah.
They had their email. I emailed them. And, you talking about from, I don't know, 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., whatever the time was. I sent them all the messages. So hundreds of messages. I can't even, I wish I can go back and look at those.
Yeah.
Because then, talk about what basketball does for you. I look back now, I'm like, that's a level of determination that I didn't even think I would have had prior to basketball. You know what I'm saying? Letters that I wish I would have kept from schools and things like that. So it's a good thing that you still have those. You know what I'm saying? Show them to your players. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I'd have had my letters so I could show them to my kids, or them emails so I can show them to my players. Like, this is what I did when I was after it. How hungry I was. How hungry are you? You know what I'm saying? What are you willing to do to get to where you're trying to get to? You know what I mean? So
100%.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I want you to send me one of them letters if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
I got to take a look at that, man, because that's inspiring to me, and maybe one of these days we'll have to elaborate on that.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%.
All right, boom. So it's the ball signing time.
Let's do it.
Ball signing time, man. We appreciate you coming through. The job ain't done until you go ahead and sign that ball.
Man,
let's do it.
Big names on there, man.
I know, man. I'm trying to see where I can fit on this.
44, right?
44, man.
Put it down there.
44, man.
What position did you play?
Man, I was shoot 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 and 3, man. Thought I was a point.
Don't we all?
Yeah, thought I was a point.
Did you ever get a chance to do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of in the flow of things. I was never like a don't dribble guy.
Yeah, good.
But I was never just the point guard, though.
So I guess I'll ask you one more question before you go. Do you have a don't dribble rule as a coach? Having, basketball experience yourself?
I do, but you gotta
earn it.
You gotta the same thing. Like, there's guys that via practice they'll tell me that they can do things. Let's see it. We record every practice.
Do y'all watch every practice?
Yeah, before every practice, we'll watch what we did the previous day.
That's nice.
Yeah, and
I love it.
And there's days where I let them tell me, "Hey, you say you could dribble."
Let's look at it.
I don't know, you know.
That film don't lie.
Yeah, that won't lie, you know. So I also think that builds confidence. And saying, hey, man, coach will let me earn what I should earn.
Right.
So that's big for me.
That's major. That's major because it's like I'm never gonna be in the bad graces because I believe that I can show you and you will let me show you.
Right.
You know, you're not closed-minded.
Right.
So that's a great attribute to have as a coach, man. Well, Twan, my man Brandon came through. He dropped major gems. Major gems. I appreciate you, man.
No doubt.
You came through.
Glad to meet you.
You too.
Journey was great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us as we drop gems that we picked up in these gyms. Peace.
Yeah. Sound good, don't it? Check. Look. Okay. Life tried to drown me. This hoop is like my life jacket. This ice in my veins is sunk the Titanic. Lockdown defense kept me out the center for detention. Divine intervention passes over to my center. Alleyways are the alley-oops. Some got no looks and passed away when somebody shoot. Back in court duo, but nobody hoops. The wrists follow through in the cuffs, got a loop. Pick a book up, picked up and get booked. It's just you and I, out running suicides. Me, I was out running suicide. Boy, I'm going in, dropping gems that I picked up in these gyms. I can't slack, I've been down and back. I'm just trying to share a few tales from this thing called life. Count my assists, man, I swear that basketball really saved my life. Yeah, I swear it saved my life. Let's go.